Which is why, when you think about it, Rarity's mane could be seen as a reflection of Camus-esque absurdism underlying the Games Ponies Play is a really mediocre episode of MLP, but it's sprinkled with the kind of gold nuggets that the show is usually good for and, I suspect, wouldn't hold up under episodes of this quality without. Even though the plot wasn't remotely engaging, I still smiled and laughed through most of the episode because the show is almost predisposed to providing great character-based comedy. The ongoing joke about Rainbow Dash's childhood disappointment is good, and some of Pinkie Pie's jokes are really good, though also some of them are stupid as hell. The scene wherein this season's main five put on a cheer is excellent and very well animated, though other parts of the episode feature awkward animation and weird camera angles. That comment about the main five, by the way, was out of spite for this still not being a fucking Rarity episode. A 13-episode season, and we got 2 fucking Spike episodes, but no Rarity episode? At least Rarity already has 2 of the best episodes of the show, so she's still in a better boat than Applejack. The biggest problem with this episode is that the plot is fundamentally uninteresting and poorly done. The stakes are set up that if the Games Inspector doesn't like what she sees, then the Crystal Empire won't get to host the Equestria Games. But the Games Inspector ends up relegated to a practically non-existent role, while we instead follow some other random mayor whom the ponies mistake for the Games Inspector and give a tour instead. The only source of tension then is that we know they've got the wrong pony. The minute we saw the inspector on the platform, that bit of tension was established, but the entire time they're giving a tour to the wrong pony, the tension isn't expanded on at all. What was even the point of this plot thread? What did it add to this episode? Even the tension over Rarity not being able to get Cadence's hair right is botched, because there's never any close call with the inspector seeing it all wrong. It was just a way for Cadence to be tied up for the rest of the episode, and it resulted in also taking Rarity out of the group antics as well, cementing her into a season-long role of being largely inconsequential. The resolution of the episode is incomprehensible. Harsh Winnie claims that she's now heard an unbiased opinion of the place, which makes no fucking sense, because in reality, she was the one receiving the unbiased treatment. She's admitting that her judgment of what town is deserving is based on how well they can pamper her, considering that the way the town treated what it thought was a regular-ass visitor was actually terrible. So yeah, the plot is basically Swiss cheese and impossible to care about. Nevertheless, Dave Polsky works in some of his unique brand of fun dialogue. This episode isn't going to make anyone start liking Polsky, nor make me feel particularly good about defending his episodes in the past, but at least he gave me a reference to neo-Gothic architecture out of nowhere. Also, Rarity said auspicious, which my 15-year-old brother had to ask me the meaning of. No, but really, there's genuinely excellent parts of this episode that deserve to be looked at. Most prominent among these is the subplot of Princess Cadance teaching Twilight how to calm herself down. I adore that this entire subplot unfolded wordlessly throughout the episode. First, Cadance shows Twilight the technique, and Twilight picks up on its purpose just by feeling it. Twilight sees Cadance use it to calm herself when she gets the bad news, and is intrigued at the sight of it. Twilight actually uses this technique to calm herself at all of the points where we'd expect her to start yelling in an ordinary episode. This is a brilliant use of her character, and the scene where she basically starts hyperventilating the technique is hilarious. It even ties in well with Just for Sidekicks, because when I watched that episode, I thought it was strange that Twilight expected Spike to have done a great job, even though she'd been suspicious about him right before leaving. This episode reveals that she was only expecting as much because of her newfound calming technique. While I'm on the subject of subtle characterization, I also should mention how the unnamed Earth Pony is ultra claustrophobic for some reason, though they never go anywhere with this. Also, I kept expecting that she was going to turn out to be one of the athletes or something after watching her outrun Shining Armor's entire track team. And that's about it. No, I'm joking. You know I wouldn't have ended this without mentioning Rainbow Dash's parents! That's parents with an S, by the way. Now, before I go for real, I know someone's going to ask me if I've heard about Fighting is Magic, which I have. I will talk about it in a later video that I have planned to follow up the end of Season 3. In the meantime, check out ANY Pony's video about the subject. And whatever you do, just keep calm and brony on.
Power to the peaceful. She walks in astonishing help. Little bit on it. Come on, my foreigner. I'm in love with the thought of